On this episode of ResiWeek, overcoming consumer price sensitivity and frustrations with manufacturers and distributors. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is ResiWeek, episode 272, Lower Price Points.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by
Draper, focused on innovative solutions.
Welcome to this episode of ResiWeek. This is your weekly roundup of all the latest news and stories for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matt D. Scott for AVNation.tv. And this week, I'm pleased to be joined by three of my good friends. First, we have Mr. Jeremy Glowacki. He is the executive editor of Residential Tech Today. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thank you for having me back. And I'm thrilled to be on a podcast with everybody that I've had on my own podcast. So it's a very friendly, fun group.
That's great. We like to keep it all, in the family and together. Speaking of family, I've got my good friend Amanda Wildman. She is the co-owner of True Media Home over in Michigan. How you doing, Amanda?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks so much for having me back.
I waved across the lake to Michigan the other day.
You did?
And my client, who lives literally across the lake from where I was, did not wave back, and I was offended. But it was fun. It made for a really good joke.
People don't realize how close we are. We're so close.
We're super stinking close.
Yeah.
I'm closest to you out of the three people on the call today. But I do have good connections to the region where Mr. Mark Feinberg comes from. He is the president of Home Theater Advisors. How you doing, Mark?
Doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me back. It's been a while. I missed you.
It has. It's been a minute. You say that now. I've
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I've mentioned to everyone that I'm a little feisty today, so we'll see. We'll have a good show. It'll be great. Coming to us from Residential Tech Today, we're going to start before I dig a bigger hole. Parks Associates says consumer smart home players are looking to overcome consumer price sensitivity. Go read this article real quick. The firm's smart home tracker has found that essentially 20 million consumers who do not own or intend to purchase smart home devices are saying that it's the expensive prices that are their reasoning for not going ahead with that adoption. To that point, most of the manufacturers continue to offer some of their smart home products in a more cost-effective situation. They're essentially lowering the bar of entry to get in. Jeremy, obviously you should know a little bit about this, as this is kind of your magazine. The major players are lowering the cost. We've seen this. We've known for a couple of years that Alexas are kind of sold at a loss, technically, just to get their foot in the door. We saw Google and their Nest division come out with a cheaper thermostat. Everyone continues to make a more cost-effective. I think Ring's got like $100 wired doorbell cam that's supposed to release the end of this month. Is that just those major players trying to broaden their scope, or is it truly that a consumer that normally would have no problem spending $250 on a T-stat is just more comfortable now spending $150?
I think that there's an argument to be made that Parks is finding in their research that these are what they call loss leaders, and they're trying to get a broader chunk of the pie there, or a bigger chunk of the pie with the consumer base that may not be interested initially, but then they see, this I can't go wrong with this price. I'm going to try this out. I don't know how well that works with smart speakers like the Alexas and the Google devices, but those have already seemed to have kind of picked up enough consumers at the price points they were, but maybe there's more to be had out there that thought it was too expensive. I think a product like a Ring doorbell, it was priced a little high for a certain population that knows they want it, but maybe just can't make the leap with it compared to a standard doorbell, which is like $10 or something, and they go, I don't know, the camera's cool. I kind of like the idea of the security, but man, that's expensive, and they just don't make that leap. And maybe they're a little turned off by the installation portion. They just are a little intimidated. So I think if you put it at a price point and it gets people a little addicted to this thing, and then they think, what can I add to it? Then that grows and that ecosystem becomes bigger, and they're more of a smart home consumer at that point. I do think that there's a case to be made here that there are people that just don't want a smart home. They're just never going to get into this space, and we kind of have to accept that. Not every home is going to be a quote unquote smart home, even if it's DIY level quality. There are going to be still those upper level income people that are going to hire folks in the CI channel that we love them, and it's going to be great. They're going to get the best products. But I just think that it's okay if people just want to live in a quiet home with not a lot of things that they have to keep on their network, and maybe they have a computer network that they connect to work on. That's about it. I think it's an interesting topic, and I do think that they're trying to achieve that larger piece of the pie, though, for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense. Amanda, when you see this, is this a market that we should, as CIs, to Jeremy's point, that we should be kind of going after, or is this something that as these price points continue to drop, it just makes it harder for the CI channel to be involved at that lower price point?
I mean, I think you're going to have the people that, kind of DIY it, kind of pick out products, things like that. And they sit there and they'll pick out the products and want to get involved in it at a lower price point, like what Jeremy said, and it will give them an opportunity to kind of like tinker with it or kind of mess around with it. But I think that those aren't going to be the big CI channel people that we work with. I mean, those people are going to want to be educated. They're going to want to know about the product, know how it's going to work. But I think that these companies are smart. I mean, I've told everybody, if you can get a smart device in someone's home, you can make their life more convenient. You can make it where it works. It's like a gateway drug. They're going to come back for more. And it's just like you see the people that are, iOS or Apple people, right? And they're very loyal. Or you see the people that are Android and they're very, very loyal. So I think that there's something to, Alexa, Amazon wants to get the people loyal to them, because then you're more likely going to work with their ecosystem. Google wants you to get loyal to them so that you're used to their platform. And then as more products and more things come out, you're already in their ecosystem. So, I mean, I think that they're going to always continue to go ahead with some of those loss leaders just to get you to buy into their ecosystem so that they can eventually sell you more.
Mark, when you follow this, when you see this, is this something that makes you, from a business stance, look at it and go, okay, if they're going to have, just for round figures, $100 solution, we're going to offer a complementary or something akin to that, right? We're going to lower our bar to help that customer get in the door. And then we're going to show them this wide swath of things they can do. Is there any value to that?
I mean, if somebody's struggling with paying $40 for an Echo Dot, I don't see how they can be any of our customers. I mean, what do we do? I mean, I need multiple, I need tenfolds of that in order to leave the house. I don't see how someone who's struggling to spend $40, $50, $60 on a smart device. Now, listen, of those 20 million, are there some of them who just don't want a smart speaker in their home because they don't want, Big Brother listening? 100%. But those who want something smart in their home, not willing to spend $40, they're not our market, and I sort of don't care. I hate to say, like they're not going to be our market. Like, how am I going to get them to go spend $10,000 on a whole home audio system and control system and an upgraded network for me to be able to do all of that? If they're not spending $40 on a Dot, they're not spending $10,000 on a network and a control system and a whole home audio system.
Is there nothing to that client cycle that's been preached for so long, though, that if you get them in the door and you get them a couple of Dots, that and again, we're just using dots as an example, that all of a sudden they're going to go, oh, this is amazing. Maybe I want something better. Because that's been the pipe dream.
Right. And I'm sure it's possible. I mean, but I can't tell you how many customers I've thrown a Control 4, processor and remote in, and I've thrown in the free dimmer to try and hook them on the smart lighting, and it didn't do it. Right? They haven't gone and bought a whole home lighting system. I don't think that. I think it worked. It may have worked for me once. I've stopped doing it because it just wasn't proving its worth. So yes, will they grow more if they bring in a Dot or they bring in a Ring doorbell? Will they grow more if they can get it for $20 and not $40? Yes, they'll grow for Ring. They'll grow for Nest. They'll grow for the Dot for the Echo ecosystem. I don't think they're going to. A small percentage may grow into our customer, but now they're already super invested in this DIY ecosystem, and can we come in and lay something on top of that they're going to be happy with? Are they going to switch over to Josh AI? Are they going to, at least fortunately now we don't have to convince them to go from a Harmony remote to a professional remote, because soon there will be no more Harmony remotes.
Wow.
Right?
Stick that in.
So there we go. Now, as we were talking pre-show, we're big Sonos fans. So if they get into the Sonos ecosystem, that's great, because then I can expand them from there. But I'm not going to do a whole lot with expanding them on the Ring and Nest ecosystem, because that's just not what we do.
Yeah, very good.
I think there's value, though, Matt, in, understanding it enough, because once people know, like, okay, that's the McDonald's, right, of the version of the stuff, but then this is what it is that we can do, like, this is what we do, right? Because I think that our level of client want to know, like, if we really, like, poo-poo or don't even have a conversation about those products or, like, know those products, like, I think then they kind of sometimes look at us like maybe a little level of arrogance, where we can say, intelligently, like, yes, there's a lot of these products out there. Yes, you will see advertising out there of these products, but this is our solution for that. And this is a higher caliber. And when you know where those pain points are, it's huge. Like, we just finished up with a really big client of ours. And like, the guy had done his entire own house, like Z-Wave switches and everything like that, and he was getting ready to build another house, and he told the builder, no, I'm going to do it all myself, because he kind of dabbles, a little bit in the tech stuff and things like that. And we met him because he sold his existing house with all the Z-Wave stuff to a friend of his, and his friend knew nothing, and so his friend brought us in to upgrade the stuff, and he happened to be there when we were doing the upgrade, and we knew every pain point that he was having with the Z-Wave stuff, and with the different technology, and with the Ring stuff, and with those thermostats. And because we could talk intelligently about that, we got the whole rest of the sale.
But there was a big life change that caused that evolution. Had he lived in that house and not sold it, would he have upgraded? I don't know. But I do know that I've been in this business for almost 20 years now, in commercial and residential and a whole bunch of things. Unless there's a major shift, clients don't upgrade. They do bits and pieces, but they don't come in and go, hey, we're here, and now let's just go here.
Right. Well, not only that, but he was already invested. He'd already spent a lot of money in a smart home, right? It's not lowering his cost of entry to $20 wasn't going to change whether he had a house full of Z-Wave switches, right? He was already a tech, he was already technologically savvy in doing it. I don't think a lower price point would have mattered, which is kind of what this whole article was about.
Hey, thanks for watching the first segment of this week's episode. To catch the entire show, please click the link below or visit avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.